So this pattern calls for a multiple of 10 plus 2. I'm actually making the blouse and I chained 90. You can make it wider or smaller. Just do the multiples of 2 plus 10. So I'm just going to make a really small sample as to how you can do the pattern. It's a 1-row repeat pattern. It's really easy. So if you want something to make, you know, maybe make yourself a nice blouse or something like that, or a baby blanket, you know, it's pretty nice and easy and quick. So the pattern says this is row 1, so you're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, which I think it is. Okay. You're going to skip 1 chain, and then in the next you're going to make 4 double crochets in that same chain. You're going to chain 2. Then you're going to do another double crochet in that same space or chain. You're going to skip 3 chains, and in the 4th you're going to do, let's see if I can, I have a hard time doing this. Okay, so you're going to do a total of 5 double crochets in the next 5 chains. So there's 1, that's 2, this is 3, okay, 4, and then 5. And you're going to skip 1 chain. Then in the next, you're going to do that other 4 double crochets in the same chain. Going to chain 2 and then another double crochet in that chain, in that same chain, and that's the row 1. So you're going to skip, oh goodness, you're going to skip 3 chains, and in the 4th, sorry for the background noise, you can hear my daughter, she's always fighting with the dogs. Okay, so then you would do your 5 double crochets in the next 5 chains, and then just repeat the pattern. You're going to skip 1, and then next you're going to do your 4 double crochets in the same stitch, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet back in that same stitch. Okay, so once you've, because you know this is a small sample, so once you've finished, you're going to have, you should have 1, 2, 3, 5 chains left. So you're going to end in this little fan, and then what you're going to do is you're going to skip your 3 chains. You skip 1, 2, 3, and then the last 2, which I think I have an extra chain, but that's fine. If I have an extra chain, it doesn't matter. So in the last 2 chains, you're going to do a double crochet. And that happened when I did the blouses as well. I don't know why I have an extra. I guess I miscounted on both. I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. So that's your end. So now this is the repeat row, and it's really easy. You're gonna chain 3. Then you're going to do a double crochet on the top of this double crochet. And in this first space right here, you're going to do your 4 double crochets. Chain 2, and then 1 double crochet. And then you're going to skip this little batch of 4 You're just gonna go into the 5 chains, the 5 double crochet, and just and just make do the 5 double crochets on top of each 5 double crochet. This. Okay, and then your next here, you're going to do your 4 double crochets. Get into chain 2, and then a little crochet back in that space, and then 5 double crochets, and then this, and then in the last, you're going to do a double crochet here and a double crochet here, and then again just chain up 3, double crochet in the next, and then you're going to have your, once you finish, you're going to have your the space right here, chain 2 space, and that's the pattern. It's really easy. Now I did a blouse. So if you're going to make a blouse, if you decide to go ahead and make the blouse, I will show you really quick because I already did. It's you're gonna have to do two of these. So make sure to count when you make your first side or your first panel, to count how many rows you have. That way you the other one, you will know how many rows you need to crochet, so it can be the same size. So this is what it looks like, the pattern. If now this on variegated yarn, you can't really see it for some reason on this yarn. You just can't really see the pattern, but I like the color. So again, you just go to your 5 double crochets, 4 double crochets, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, chain 3, and then repeat the row. So it's really easy. So if you're going to make the blouse, I have finished, well, this is the second panel. Let me just do this real quick. Now, the way that the neck opening, I always make it 5 inches wide. Anything wider than that, the sleeve is going to fall off your shoulder. So what you're going to do is just fold your blouse in half, and then put a stitch marker, or place a stitch marker is the correct word, right in the middle like this. And you're going to, now if you finished on one color, if you want to change colors you can, but I'm going to continue, so I didn't fasten off on this side. So what I did, and this is easiest for me, probably you have a different way of doing it, but I look at the middle of the stitch right here, and I get 2 more stitch markers. And what I did is, you're going to measure 2.5 inches on each side from the middle. So here is this. So I would place the stitch marker. Let me see. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just more or less place the stitch marker right there. And then I went ahead and did the 2.5 from here. And then I placed the stitch marker right here. And that gives me more or less a 5 inch for the neck. I'll take this off, and you can continue the pattern. Oops, that was loud. So you're going to continue up until here. So I'm just going to crochet across, and then I'll show you how you would continue the pattern. It's real, you can continue the same way, and then once you reach this one right here, basically you're going to do a double crochet here. Now let me just do this across real quick. So this is a chain 3. I'm going to the next double crochet, go into the next chain 2 space, and you're going to do your 4 double crochets there. Chain 2, and then 4 double crochets, and then do your 5 double crochets, and I'll meet you here. I can show you what to do next. Okay, so I did this last fan, or whatever you want to call it. So usually I would jump into right here. So actually I put the stitch marker there, right here. So you can actually just jump in. Well, no, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here. So go ahead and just go to the where the stitch marker was and do a double crochet. You're gonna chain up 3, turn it around, and then continue the pattern. So this here's the next chain 2 space, and you're just going to continue the pattern as normal. See, and just do that. So when you come back to this, when you come back on this side, you would just do a double crochet and then chain 3, and that would be that. That's how you continue this pattern. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this side, and I'll show you the other side. And what I did is I counted 11 rows from here. So I'm gonna place a stitch marker so I know this is the first, because this is the first row of the sleeve. So I did 11 of these. So I'll go ahead and finish one side, and then I will show you how to do the other side of the sleeve. Okay, for this side, I did 8, and then on the other side, the other panel, I did 11, because I think it's going to be it's going to be hanging too low. So yeah, that's what I did. But again, you would measure out what I do is I more or less place the neck where I want it to be, and then I measure this against my shoulder, and this should be in the middle of my shoulder, which tells me, well, if you put it again, it's hard to explain. If you put this against how low you want it to be, then you would go by the middle of your shoulder and see how many rows you need for that, for this part to, how low it goes. I don't know if I didn't explain that. Hopefully that made some sense. Anyway, so I'm going to start on the other side. So when you start on this side, of course, you didn't have to fasten off. You just continued. But for this one, you've reached your rows. So this row I did 8. Let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did on this side 8. And on the other side, I did 11. So, sorry, the doggies get excited when they're being fed. Okay, so this is the other stitch marker. So I did a slip knot, and I'm going to place hook there. Take out the stitch marker. So here I'm just going to chain up. Well, I'm going to do the I'm just going to do this. I'm going to chain up 1. actually, you know, I should not do that because it looks weird. So let me do this instead. Attach the yarn like this. Okay, so then you're going to chain 3, and then you're going to follow your double crochet, next double crochet here, and then you're going to do your little, I don't know what you would call it, a fan, I guess I can call it. Just continue the pattern as you would, then your 5 double crochets. So when you come back, you would do a double crochet and then a double crochet here, and then chain 3 and turn, and then continue the pattern. And that would be for the other side of the sleeve. So it's really easy. Okay, so I finished the length of the sleeves. So the next step would be to, and this is going to be easier to sew the panels together. I'm just going to go around and do a single crochet border. You can start anywhere, it doesn't matter. So let me see, okay, I'll start in this right here. So there really is no rule of thumb. Just go ahead and, you know, single crochet in the spaces. There's one, then the next space here. You want it spaced out to where it's not too, it doesn't ruffle, or it's not too like tight. You just want to, so if you feel that it's ruffling because you're probably placing too many of the single crochets in each space, always go back and, you know, just rip it out and do it. If they're coming too tight, do it again. So don't worry about it. Do what you can, best as you can. And if it works, if not, you can always, you know, redo it. No problem. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to sew the panels. I always sew them, I always do the sleeves first. That way when the sleeves, when the sleeves are sewed together, you can put them together, make sure that they are, you know, the blouse is nice and even and it's not a little, you know, wonky. That makes sense. So so I'm going to go ahead and do this all around, and then I'll be back and show you how you can sew these panels together. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put the right sides together, and you can use a stitch, not a marker, clip to you know, keep it in place. It does help. So I'm going to do that. These are a little small, but okay. So if you're familiar with this process, then you know that it's not a big deal. You're going to make sure that they are really, and you have to just more or less decide where you want to start. Because it's a blouse and it's going to be worn and washed, and if you have the same color as the border, then I would suggest going through the 2 loops. If you don't, you can actually go through only these back loops, and it will be, you'll have like an invisible seam if you're using different colors. So I'm just going to attach it right there. Just make a small, you want to leave enough tail to where you can weave it in. And all you're going to do is just go through, let's see if I can put it a bit closer. Whoopsie. Okay, so what you're going to do is just go through the loops here. I usually do this just to make sure I'm getting both loops. Then you're going to go to the next. We're going to more or less line them up. It helps. So there it is, and then here's the other one. So if it's the same color, you're not going to really notice it. So that's basically what you're just going to do is going to go into each of these and just do it like that. So that's what, and I start with, I'm starting with the sleeves. I'm doing the sleeves first, and then I will do the rest. So, just keep in mind that when you are sewing the sides together, not to leave the arm opening. And that's something that you have to measure on your own to see where you want it. I would usually, once these are sewed, I would just put it on and just more or less go on the side and just pinch it as to how how long I want the opening to be, how wide, and then I put like a stitch marker there, and then I take it off and more or less calculate, and then I go on the other side and do the same thing. Or you can actually count the rows to see how many rows from the top to the bottom where you would start your opening or to finish. I mean, you would, of course, since you're going to be doing it on this side, you would stop here and this, you know, for the opening to be around here. I don't know if that makes any sense. So that's it. So just show the sides again. You can use stitch markers. I keep saying that, clips, just to clip it together, you know, and then just do the same thing. You know, and probably do place a stitch marker where you, once you figure out the width of how wide you want the opening to be for the arms. And that's it. So that's how you would sew it together. It's no biggie. Again, just try to match it up as best as you can. And just go like that and weave in the ends, and that's it. And that's your blouse. So I think I covered everything. Just depends on what colors you want to use. The variegated, you really can't tell. You really can't see the pattern there. You can on solid, not on variegated. And this is any pattern actually for variegated yarn. It's just very hard to see the pattern. But it's pretty easy. Just the one more repeat. And please feel free to email me with any questions. And I hope you learned something new today. And thank you for watching.